stream. It's still going to work. I just have to link my iPad with the computer. So bear with me a moment. Just going to go here, 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 here. Wait for that. All right, I got my little code. Come back to this. All right, hold on. Waiting. There it is. Okay, so reflector is now working for now. Whoa. Why does reflector look so weird? That's not right. That's strange. Reflector got really... Huh. You know what? Whatever. Figure it out. I'm not going to worry about it. It's just what it is. Oh, there it is. Okay. It fixed itself. I don't really know how, but it did. Okay. Let's see. Let me just do... I did... Instagram is done. Oh, I'm curious about this. Ah, I see. Interesting. I don't know where those are coming from. I really don't. But you know what? It doesn't matter. Although I'm curious now. I've been doing a small bit of tinkering on some of my settings, including... Oh, I didn't mean to put that there. Hold on. Sorry, I gotta just erase this. This is in the wrong place. Delete. That doesn't go there. My mistake. That goes in... Actually, where does that go? Here, maybe? No. Here. Hold on. I can't remember where I post. Plug yourself. There it is. That's where it is. That's where it goes. There we go. Many Discords, of course, I forgot to silence my phone. Sorry. Many Discords have a specific place for people to post when they're streaming, and I try to respect that, and I accidentally posted in the wrong spot. Because I don't want to be one of those people who just spams channels unnecessarily, where people don't care. So I'm trying not to do that. All right. Luckily, nobody's watching yet, so this is pretty easy for me to just fix in the background. Oh, I did that one already. Okay. There's that one. And finally, that one. All righty. Okay. Let me close Discord. And I posted on the Blue Skies. So the only thing I got to do left to do is look at the social stream thing and see what we see. Yeah, definitely much fewer now. All right, this is good. It's still working, shockingly. All right. Well, like I said, I've just been... Oh, let me test it. I gotta hit the button. And then Whoa. Was that just me hitting the button? I guess it was. It makes a noise when you hit the button, huh? Test 1 and test 2. And we see both. Let me switch to the multi-stream. I'm gonna get a sip of water really quick, if you give me a second. Wow, I was really thirsty. Man, that was a huge gulp of water. All right, let me move my iPad over. Get my beautiful keyboard out of the way that I really am enjoying very much. And then we'll get going here. So, okay. Yeah, so I did a little bit of... you know what? I wonder if I should make that QR code bigger. Is it too small? It might be. Let me make this a little bit bigger. Hold on a minute. Oh, no. Go back to the QR code. Is it not possible to make it bigger? Oh, that's weird. It doesn't have a resize option. I wonder why. Yeah, I can't... Geez, I can't even move. Why can't I even move it? Lock. Hold on. Unlock. You know what? I'm not going to mess with it. I'm not going to mess with this today unless it's the whole... No, it isn't. It's right there. But that's strange. Huh. Yeah, weird. Oh, whatever. Okay. Let me get rid of this. So let's run the opening. Here we go. Turn that off. Social stream is already showing. Yeah, I think everything else... This should all work. This should all come back. Let's see. Hold on. Here we go. Here we go. Come on. Come on. Hey, look at that. It all works. Yeah, you know, the only problem I have is I'm noticing how small some of these elements are. And weirdly, it won't Oh, because I'm already live. I don't think it lets you resize when it's live. Yeah, I'll bet that's why. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. That makes sense. Yeah, it's locking the stuff while it's live. I didn't think about that. I should have done before. But I'm going to make that QR code bigger. I'm probably going to make the Walkman bigger, too. Because they're really small. Anyway, it doesn't matter. Okay, so I did fix. A friend of the show, Aunt Pruitt, has told me multiple times, to his credit, and I have forgotten almost instantly every time, that my stream had a typo in it, and I finally fixed it today, and discovered that for some reason YouTube was trying to, I'll give you a look at this, had 7 or 8 versions of the stream copied for some reason, which I really don't get. I don't know why it did that, but it did. So I erased a couple of them to make sure it didn't destroy the stream, and it hasn't. So I think I'm going to trim them down. Not that you ever see them as viewers, but it's really weird because I go to open the social stream thing, and it had 8 or 9 options. Luckily, it tells you which one is live, but the other ones don't do anything as far as I can tell. So I'm really not sure why they're there. It was probably when I was having problems and I was messing around. You know, I'm sure it's a byproduct of what I did. One other thing I'm going to start doing on the streams is if the reflector thing crashes hard, I'll just play Nintendo games. So I've realized I'm not going to bother really struggling. Hi. Sorry, I'm saying hi to my dog because she's sweet. And she's coming over to see me. Hello, beauty. Hello. Oh, and she burped. I don't know if the mic picked that up. Wonderful. You are a classy dame. Good job. Good job, huh? Burp on the stream. That'll get the views, huh? We don't need dogs eating popcorn. We don't have dogs belching into my wireless mic, huh? Yeah. Hey, Carmelian, how you doing? Whoa, 3 viewers. Holy cow. Big time. Well, happy, it is Monday. God, I'm all over the place. More than usual. I have to admit, I'm in a strange headspace today. Nothing bad. I'm just in I've had a weird mindset all day. It's very, very hard to describe. Like I said, it's not anything bad. I'm going to redo that line. But I don't know. I don't know how to describe it. It's tough to really put into proper context because I think no matter how I say it, it's going to sound a lot worse than it is. But I've kind of been thinking all day about the fact that my life is likely more than halfway over. Let's see. I've been all right just laying around. I was bored. Well, you came to the right place. You came to the right place. But yeah, I mean, I've just been thinking all day, sort of like, I guess you would call it. I guess everybody has some version of a midlife crisis. Most midlife crisis people, I think, buy exorbitant things or cars or try to recapture youth. I don't have any of that. But I was thinking about the fact that I've been playing adventure games lately from the 90s, like Full Throttle, because they remastered it, and it's beautiful. And I've had this fixation on stuff like PS1 games and old adventure games, and I think it's an element of just kind of, I guess it's sort of a funeral for my youth, I guess. I'm not sure how else to put it. Like I said, it's not anything bad. I haven't gotten any news from a doctor or anything. Like, I'm not, as far as I know, there's nothing wrong with me that I'm aware of. I'm sure there's something wrong with me, but I'm not aware of it. But yeah, it's just been like that all day. It's been a strange mindset today. Where I've just been thinking about that stuff. I think I'm going to go with black on these. I think that's going to stand up better than it'll be a nice contrast to the white. Yeah, I don't know how else to really describe it. It's not a bad mood. I'm not in a bad mood. It's just kind of one of those things where, you know, I mean, best case scenario, I'm more than halfway through my life. Who knows? I mean, really. Pulling out of the driveway tomorrow, that could be it. So, unfortunately, that's the case for everybody. Yeah, I mean, I don't mind aging really the way some people do. The stuff that normally bugs people about aging doesn't really bother me. You know, I mean, I'm starting to get lines that you can see around my eyes. My hair's been going for years. Like, that stuff doesn't bother me. I don't care. I've never had that kind of, I don't want to call it vanity even, because it's not necessarily, vanity's not the right word for it, but I've never really cared what I looked like. I was always just kind of like, you know, like, oh, well, I got 2 eyes and 10 fingers and all that stuff, so I'm doing all right. I'm not doing too bad here. You know, there's certainly people that are in worse situations or could have an actual complaint, and I'm not one of them. So it's not really that. It's just kind of that, I don't know. It's hard to even really capture what it is, because like I said, it's not really bad. It's just sort of a weird kind of mindset to be in. And it's strange too, because, you know, knock on wood or whatever, at the moment I really have nothing to complain about. I don't have any, I don't know, physical problems. There's nothing that I've really felt like I can't do. So it's not like I suddenly, you know, the classic joke is you sneeze and you throw your back out. It's not like something like that where I'm just like, wow, I can't even sneeze now without it being a problem because of my age. It's nothing like that. It's just kind of a general, I don't know, I guess malaise might be the right word for it, but even malaise is, I think, a negative word. Makes it like, oh, let's see, hold on, I should look it up. Let's see, what does malaise mean? I don't like to use words if I don't know what they're saying, what they mean, because, you know, malaise. Let's see, malaise. I don't even know if that's the right word. Wow, well, it's already got a thing that comes up that says diagnosis and treatment, so that can't be a neutral condition. Malaise is described as any of the following: a feeling of overall weakness. No. A feeling of discomfort. I wouldn't say discomfort. A feeling like you have an illness. No. Simply not feeling well. Okay, simply not feeling well could mean 4 million things. It often occurs with fatigue and an inability to restore a feeling of health. No, okay, I don't have malaise. No, that's not it. That's not what I have. That's not what I'm feeling. I shouldn't say have, and that makes it sound like there's something going on. I don't know what it is. Like I said, it's just a general feeling today. And there's nothing really that I can think of that triggered it or caused it. Just kind of a general thing. My birthday's not anywhere near now, so it's not a birthday thing. Because that's often, for some people, that's it. Their birthday's coming up and they start to think about that number that defines their age. You know what I mean? Could be a form of past reflection or something. Yeah, it could be. It could be. I mean, that's, yeah, it is sort of that. I think you actually are kind of closer than you might think. It's more that I've just noticed that I have been, oh, you know what? Actually, I may have an idea of some of it. Hold on, let me get a drink. I am really thirsty today for some reason. There we go. It's not like I had a lot of salt or anything that I'm aware of. I may know what it is. It may have been kind of a final piece of a puzzle thing. I found this account. I actually posted about this over on the podcast Patreon a couple days ago, maybe? I don't remember. Whenever. But I found this account for I guess it's not really a club. It's more of it's these 2 DJs, really, that have organized this thing called Book Club Radio. And I was looking around, and it just so happened I saw this thing, and I thought, well, that's an interesting name for a music, you know, like a DJ pairing. And I believe it's a brother and sister duo. Jojo, I think, is the one sibling, and Tinzo, Tinzo, I think, is the other, if I got those names right. Pretty sure, I know I've got Tinzo's names right. Tinzo's name right. I don't know if Jojo is the entirety of what the other sibling goes by. In any event, I saw this thing and it said something about, you know, dance parties where no phones are allowed on the dance floor, and I went, oh, that's interesting. You know, a no phone rule, which I know is actually more common than I think most people who are older think. Everybody who's older, you know, the cliche is everybody younger is on their phones all the time. Well, that's not really true. But in any event, I thought, no phones on the dance floor. That's interesting, because I, when I was young, I shouldn't say when I was younger, I still am. I was big into like trance music and that type of thing. I mean, I grew up in the kind of the big days of the raves, the original kind of big first run of raves, you know, when that stuff was still relatively new, when electronic music was the modern version of electronic music, because there's always been electronic music. Well, as long as there's been electronics, there's been some form of that, even going way back to the 50s and 60s. You know, people think it's a modern thing. It really isn't. As far as an art form, electronics have been part of music. Synthesizers, theremins, all that type of thing. They've always been around. But what I'm talking about is specifically kind of what most people think of when they hear the term dance music is that type of electronica, or that type of, you know, house music, that type of stuff. You know, so the rave thing was big when I was younger, and I used to go to them. And I was always kind of an oddball for a number of reasons. One, I didn't do any drugs, so there were a lot of people doing a lot of drugs at raves. Two, I really don't dance. Never have. Probably never will. So I was the person, you know, one of a small group of people. And it's not like I was the only one, but it was definitely a minority in terms of people who were just kind of hanging back and genuinely listening to the music and not just, you know, experiencing whatever drug was coursing through their system and the music type of thing. You know, it was, for a lot of people, it was more than just whatever was being played. It was kind of everything going on with them. And for some people, it was a very kind of, I want to dress up in an outfit and be a one-person show type of thing. I was never big on that either. So you would see a lot of that as well. But, you know, that kind of came and went. Not entirely. It's not like it disappeared. There have those things, that music, and they changed, and, you know, there's still been versions of it. But like I said, it's just, I found this account and I was like listening to it, and I was looking at these people who were just there and did seem to genuinely be interested in the music, and it was just, it reminded me of when I was younger. So I guess it's partly that too. It's just kind of a bunch of things adding up at relatively the same time. So maybe it is a self-reflection thing, or past reflection that you said. It does seem to fit somewhat with the overall feeling. So you very well may be right with that. And like I said, I don't want to come off like it's something like a depression or something. It's really not that, because I don't really have anything to be all that upset about at the moment. So it's just kind of a strange thing. Let's see. Let's go down to 2. And let's see. That's about that. Is it about that size? Let's check. Ooh, where's that coming from? Hold on. Where is that? Where did you come from, little white dot? Because I can sure see you. There you are. Bye. There we are. Okay. Anyway, like I said, it's just been, just had that strange kind of mood all day. But, because like I said, it's definitely within the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 months or so, I've been watching a lot of videos about the thing froze. I just realized, sorry. Let me do this. Hold on. Okay, let me reconnect it. If it reconnects. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Oh, it regenerated the key. Hold on. All right, give me a minute. I'll wait till it reconnects. If it reconnects, there it goes. All right, sorry, let me turn that back off. There we go. So yeah, you didn't see me finish that. Now I'm up in here, because I've just been sitting here babbling. But yeah, interesting. Just interesting day that way. Because I've been listening to that music all day and just kind of thinking back a bit, which wasn't a bad thing. Had some good times in those days. Yeah. Oop, gotta actually turn the pen on. There we go. Not gonna be much of anything to look at if the pen's not on. That's probably too thin. Although on a, hold on, am I doing this all wrong? No, that's following. It's following. Okay, I'm following. I want to make sure I wasn't too zoomed in and I wasn't actually seeing what I was doing correctly. But But actually, something that I was really happy about was an individual who is on YouTube who had, I guess he's been going through some stuff too, based on what he said here. Well, that's a good sign, isn't it? Well, I mean, in fairness, I do sometimes just stop and talk. So it wouldn't be unusual for it to freeze for a minute, especially if I was like looking something up or getting a drink or whatever. So yeah, it's fine. I only noticed because I looked up. There's no real indicator. The iPad itself does not give any indication of what state it's in. The iPad just keeps going. So it thought, or I shouldn't say it thought, there wasn't anything that would have told me that it was frozen until I looked up and I realized, wait a minute, I've moved past where that image is showing. That's all. Not a huge deal. Like I said, you're not missing anything that is all that unmissable. I think that's a word. Unmissable. I don't like that curve at the end. Lost it at the end. Hold on. And maybe too, there was another thing. There's a movie I backed on Kickstarter by an individual who I'm a big fan of, a woman named Cynthia Rothrock, and I saw there was a new trailer for it. And I mean, just to be frank about it, she's getting older. This is probably going to be the last movie she can make where she's actually doing stunt work, just due to her age. And maybe it's that too. It's just like, wow, the people that I grew up with. Oh, that's fine. You know, you're not missing. I mean, you're not missing anything. You're really not. It's just me making lines. But I think maybe it's that too. It's just the idea that actually to me is even worse than me getting older is looking around and seeing all these people who were part of media and pop culture when I grew up with, and they're starting to die off. That's a tough thing to wrestle with. Not that I have any particular attachment to the people, I don't know them. But it's just, you know, again, it's just a reminder of that we all become obsolete in different ways. I'm not trying to turn this into a downer stream either, because again, I don't really have anything to complain about, so I don't want to make it off like I'm whining about getting old. I'm really not. It's just an observational thing. I don't know how I want that. Hold on a minute. I gotta look at this. No, that's okay. It is following. All right. It just doesn't look like it at the angle I'm at. But to flip it around, the other side of that is that book club radio channel is very good. I actually backed them on Patreon because if you back them, then you can download the mixes in high quality. And I downloaded 4 of the mixes today, as a matter of fact, because they're really good. And some people were, I mean, there was somebody in there who was like a 63-year-old and said, you know, I've grown up around this scene and I'm really happy to see young people still keeping up with it. And that's true. It was really great to see how many young people were there and weren't looking at phones, were looking at each other and dancing with each other. That is nice because, again, you get this, there's this pop culture idea that everybody young is on a phone. They're all just not paying attention. And look, there is that. That does happen. It does. But, you know, it's not like the same general criticisms weren't being thrown around when I was younger. When I was younger, it was like, all they're doing is looking at TV all day. They don't pay attention to anything. Now they're all looking at their phones. And before that, it was probably they're all listening to records in their room by themselves. It's all the same recycled complaints, you know, from the previous generation about what the new generation is doing wrong because they're not doing it the same way that the older one did. So, you know, there's always been that. There's always going to be that. Unfortunately, it just seems to be a human habit is to try to find fault with those who are younger. Not that I'm saying there isn't fault sometimes. There is. But it's not as much as people make it out to be. So, but like I said, that channel is really good. So I backed them on Patreon. Only $3 a month, and you get to download all the mixes. And they've got all their mixes down in there. So I downloaded 4 of them. Let's see, which 4 did I download? Let me tell you what I downloaded, just if you're curious. Because all their stuff is on YouTube. You can actually go and hear all of it. So what did I recently added? Here it is, Book Club Radio. The 4 that I downloaded are Dark Synthwave Mix in a Brooklyn Warehouse, Magical Soulful House Mix at Lightning in a Bottle. I assume that's a club, Lightning in a Bottle. Melodic Trance and Techno in a New York Basement. Now, I don't think it's actually in a basement. I think what they did was they redecorated this space they have to look like a basement. And finally, Y2K Trance Mix in New York. Those are the 4 I have so far, which is about 5 hours worth of mixes, and they are quite good. I will be getting more as the week goes on, but I was actually very happy to be able to support them because I was afraid it was going to be really expensive, especially with something like music. You know, those can be pricey. Not that I'm saying it's not worth it, but I am trying to... I basically downgraded another thing that I support, honestly, which I don't really take advantage of everything that level of support had anyway. And that kind of freed up the room to this one, which I always have a guilt about that. And I know I shouldn't, but I always hate downgrading anything because it's not that I don't value what these people do, but there's just only so much money. I mean, that's just really the truth. But I always feel bad about it. I have this guilt about it because it's just like, I don't want that to be, because I know how creators are. I know how I am. And I don't want that person to take that as a sign that something they're doing is wrong or not working anymore. It's really not that. It really isn't. And that's always the tricky part, is I really hate downgrading subscriptions. I really hate it. But at the same time, there's certain necessities that just you can't ignore. And, you know. But on top of that, speaking of YouTube, there's an individual named, all right, I'm going to make sure I pronounce it correctly. I think I will. Brian Quarfoth. Quarfoth. I believe that is how it's pronounced. Who had taken a hiatus from content creation for a while. I guess he just had some stuff going on and had to step away for a bit. I don't know exactly how long. I want to say it was probably close to a year. But sounds like everything's going much better, which A, is the most important thing. That's good. And B, he's putting out videos again, which that's great. Because I think he's got a very distinctive kind of take on things. And unsurprisingly, it's pop culture based because, of course, it is. That's what I tend to watch. But he's one of these people who's into old media type stuff, so VHS collector, that type of thing. I'm not a VHS collector, but it does allow... The one thing about VHS collecting that is... I'm looking at this now, and I'm not sure I like how these look. You know what I think it is? I think I know what it is. Wait, is it? Hold on. Yeah, I know what it is. I know exactly what it is. It's not all of them. Some of them are fine. But I think I got to redo these because they're not following the arc of the bottom line. That's why. So I was following the top, not the bottom. That was my mistake. But anyway, the one thing that is that if you collect VHS or you go searching for VHS tapes is you will find movies that have yet to be released on any other format. Because, of course, in the days when I was younger, there was a VHS boom, and there was VHS rental stores everywhere, and those stores needed to constantly have new stuff to keep people coming back, and so they would just make movies to fill VHS shelves, which means there was a lot of junk, which there was, but it also means that every so often you get something really interesting and different. And unfortunately, not all of those movies and TV shows and everything have been moved to newer formats. So the only way you can watch certain things is if you go and find a VHS tape of them. Which, like I said, is not something I'm going to get into because I don't have the space. I'll just be honest. I don't have space to be now creating a VHS collection. Now, you know what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and get some more water because I am extraordinarily thirsty. So just because the noise of me filling my cup with water is going to sound a lot like I'm in the bathroom, which I promise you I'm not, but it's going to sound like I'm in the bathroom, except without the echo. That's how you would know it is in the bathroom. There's no echo. But regardless, I wouldn't want somebody to jump into this stream randomly and seems like I'm in the bathroom on the mic. So I'm going to silence my mic for 1 second. My older sister told me she burnt up 2 VHS players watching Little Mermaid. Yeah, oh yeah, that was very common. Is VHS tapes, like cassette tapes, they would get used up. So that's not uncommon. It's more that there's stuff now that just never got released on even DVD. Sometimes not even on Laserdisc. So there are films and things like Alien Private Eye just was almost impossible to find until a few years ago when Vinegar Syndrome grabbed it and put it onto Blu-ray, and I bought it instantly because I'd only ever seen really, really terrible. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's not a great movie, but it's a very fun movie. But the only copy you could ever find, and the only way you could watch it, was terrible VHS rips, which were not good. They just did not translate well. I'll be back in 2 seconds. Stay right there, kid. I'm just getting water. Just getting myself some water. Don't move. Don't move. Oh, that water bottle's gonna need to be changed. Hey Siri, what's the score of the Yankees game? Unbelievable. No. Okay. Alrighty. Did I not mute again? No, I didn't. Well, then all you heard me do... Did I really not mute it again, or did I mute it? Well, that doesn't matter. You probably heard me check on the Yankees game score, which is depressing, so I'm better off streaming than doing that. Wow, that's nicely cold water. All right. So, anyhow. Much better off streaming than watching the Yankees game, that's for sure. Because they are just sucking lately. But yes, VHS tapes burning up a player, yeah. I mean, that's the thing, is it was, compared to now, it really is pretty astonishing that now that we have digital video for everything, everything is digital, you get perfect copies. Whereas with VHS or cassette, an 8-track, anything that was tape-based, every copy was slightly degraded. So it was such a tough thing to preserve stuff. If it was something that you actually used a lot, you know, you would make a duplicate of it, or you would have to buy it again. But if you made a duplicate of it, there was no reason to expect it to not be a slightly worse version. Which, you know, the first, say, 5 times, would you really notice? Probably not. But after that, you're going to start to hear it. You're going to start to be able to tell that, oh, this is a, 5th generation copy of whatever. And, not great. So, like I said, it's one of those things where, well, I could not really imagine I would ever buy VHS again. Because plus, how would you ever play it? You'd have to get a VCR, which are huge. The tapes are huge. I mean, the size of looking at my shelf of movies. There's, let's see, hold on, I heard something. I was born too late for all that when I was, well, you know what? Lucky you. Because really, that's the beginning of a much better way to have things and actually have them last. Because ripping a DVD, you can get a perfect duplicate of it. You can't do that with VHS. But I mean, literally, I'm looking at a collection over there of, what is that? Oh, Max Headroom. So I've got the Max Headroom complete 2-season collection there. That collection, which is, I don't know, 4 or 5 discs, 2 whole seasons of a show, a VHS tape of just the pilot episode would be bigger than that entire collection, and it would be 1 episode. Maybe 2. So imagine to collect, Max Headroom was what? I think it was 8 episodes and 6 episodes, maybe? Because it was done on like a British type of, so 14 episodes. Yeah, you're talking about 14 tapes. That would take up The entire shelf that all those movies that are around it are on. Yeah, forget it. No, you're better off now with the stuff that you got. And CD, of course, you know, I mean, the problem with CDs really became that at a certain point they realized, well, nobody's going to rebuy albums because they've got a perfect version of it. So that's when you suddenly got albums that were remastered, even if they didn't really need to be remastered. Some did. Some were in bad shape and needed it. But there was also, that was the era of let's just start remastering everything, which, you know, has its downside too. But that was kind of the comedy of that, was suddenly everything needed to be remastered. Well, surely this album was never properly mixed and blah, 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 blah. And they were fine. A lot of them were fine. Not all. Some genuinely did need remasters and got them, which is good. But definitely not all of them. I mean, seriously, definitely not. I remember when I used to see VHS at thrift stores and I thought they were really thick books. Yeah, until my dad told me what they were and showed me. Well, that's right. I mean, they were huge. Which, don't get me wrong, before that there was nothing. You would have had to have a projector and a film reel. And if you think a VHS is huge, look at the size of a film reel to put on a projector. Not even a real film movie. I'm talking about just like a home movie. They're huge. So it is all, in comparison to that, a VHS player tape looked really small. So for its time, yeah, it was great. But the problem is it was analog, which meant that, you know, every time that you duplicated it or made a copy, every generation of it was a little bit worse. And that was the real problem with them. More than anything was just that, hey, you know what? Hold on, I'm going to do something really quick here. Bear with me 1 second. Yes, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to take that one, put it, hold on, I want to line it up. Just want to get it straight. So that I can, hold on. There we go. Get that dead center. There, perfect. Okay. Back to this one. So yeah, every generation of tape would be just a bit worse. But yeah, compared to what came before, and even like a Laserdisc, Laserdiscs were huge. Laserdiscs were kind of the intermediaries between VHS and DVDs. They were basically very, very large DVDs for all intents and purposes. They were just very large DVDs. But that also brings up another good point. Even Laserdiscs, some movies that were on Laserdisc haven't even gotten proper releases, which is just crazy. But that's the reality. And that's what I mean about, I understand why there are people who go hunting around for VHS tapes, because a movie they may remember and love, or a show that was never popular enough to get a full release and probably will never, I mean, I shouldn't say will never. I think at some point everything will get released, because there's a pretty fair awareness at this point that there are collectors who will buy even not great films. I'm one of them. So, you know, I've certainly bought things and thought, wow, this is not really all that good. Fortunately, I've been able to sell them, because I tend to jump on them really quick, and they tend to be limited collector's editions, and people who have apparently even less taste than I do will buy them. So it's not like I've ever lost money on them. I gotta say, I just sold a set of films which are perfectly fine, but I realized I was never gonna watch them again. But luckily, because I had a numbered box set, somebody wanted them. And you know what? Better that they go to somebody who will appreciate it and will actually watch it and will love it. I'd rather not just throw something out if I don't have to. So I was very happy with that this person got it. And I hope that they enjoy it. I really do. I hope they get a lot out of it. I just did not. I don't say that about a lot of movies, but it does happen. So better that they go to somebody who really genuinely wants it. Now, for all I know, that person is just collecting numbered box sets, so maybe they don't care about the movie. But hey, still, They get more out of it than I did. So that's okay. To each their own. If that's what they want it for, it's their property now. They can decide what they want to do. And I am okay with that. All right, so what we're going to do, now you'll see why I put this circle in the center. I'm going to do a duplicate. And now I'm going to do a rotate. And I'm going to line these two circles up. And then they should be equally spaced. Doing that otherwise is not easy, so let's just check. Yep, looks good. We should be fine. Let's go ahead and get our paint eraser and get rid of this middle circle because that does nothing. And where's the other one? There it is. Let's get rid of that one because that does nothing. Let's just make sure I got rid of that. My remnants of that there. Okay. So then we'll do a merge down to link our circles. There we are. Ooh, man, I picked my head up really quick and I got lightheaded for a minute. Whoa, water. There we go. All right. Okay, so let's get rid of the parts of this we don't need, which are the internal sides. Okay, there we are. Let's go ahead and bring that back in. Okay. And we'll do white lines for the, whatever those parts of the ear are. I don't even know what they would be described as. But let's use this. No, let's not use that. Because that's this, right? Yeah. What is this? Hold on, what is this? I can't even see that. Where is it? Oh, it's those lines. Okay, got it. Wait a minute, did I not merge those lines? Oh yeah, I did. No, I did. Okay, just checking. Just making sure I know where all my stuff is. I got it. All right, let's go ahead and do a new one. Let's go to white. Let's go to an assist. Or mirror, or whatever. Symmetry. Yeah. VHS. The only thing, although, again, a lot of this has followed over to DVDs and Blu-rays, is the VHS art. Because again, at the time when I was young and you had all these stores that had VHSs in them, there were so many of them that you had to basically then, there was sort of a paradox that would happen. Because like I said, all these VHS stores, they all needed to have something on the shelves, right? So they would have tons of these things. Tons of these. But the other side of that is all of them were competing with each other. So the way that they would try to attract the attention of a buyer, or a renter, I should say, not a buyer. Although a lot of stores would actually sell the tapes too if you really wanted to, but many of them were just rentals only. But the only way that they could get your attention was to have really, really compelling box art that would get you to want to rent the film. Box art that was often, in the case of certainly action movies, highly deceptive, but also horror movies, because they would show you things on those covers. Like, let's say it's a barbarian film, right? And you would see this massively oiled up, muscled Arnold Schwarzenegger type fighting some kind of gigantic beast as a woman in a metal bikini, you know, was underneath him going, "Oh, help me," or whatever. Then you turn the movie on and there's almost none of that. Nothing. Nothing that resembles that cover, barely at all. There might be a guy in a suit as a monster. Maybe you'd see that. You know, they probably do get a very fit individual to be the barbarian character. No doubt there would probably be women in various states of being undressed or in skimpy outfits that were somehow sold to be, you know, barbarian bikinis or whatever. But it really wouldn't be that. Recently, I watched the newest My Hero Academia movie. It's so different in terms of quality than the old DVD ones. It's weird because they're not that old. It's just different in HD or something. I don't know. Well, yeah, well, with animation specifically, the styles really, I mean, the HD part might be a component of it, but also some of the styles on those shows would change in the course of the show. So, but yeah, what you're probably seeing is things that were either fixed or color corrected or whatever, and that stuff can change. it's sort of amazing because if you don't notice it, you wouldn't think it. You'd think, well, okay, so they corrected the blue color. Who cares? Depends where that blue color was being used, how it was being used, what it signified in the show. I don't think I like those horizontal lines. I think I'm going to go back to vertical. I think vertical is the way to go on these. All right, let's do this. But yes, I've seen the same thing where I see a show, and even though it's basically just a new formatted version, is there? Hold on, I felt something on the screen. I think there's just like a little something on there, so I'm just seeing if I can find it with using the white and just get it off there. There we go. Okay, got it. All right. No, I think you're right. There is definitely a difference you can tell with some stuff. And I think, I'm trying to remember what it was. It was something like that, what you're talking about, where I was watching a series and it had just been remastered, and it was such a... And as far as I could tell, all they really did, I don't think any of the voice work was redone, none of that stuff. All they did was do color correction. But I guess in the old ones, the color was just on the versions I saw was so off that the color corrected version, which technically was the correct version, looked wrong because I'd spent so much of my life seeing it one way that to see it in the intended format was odd. It's kind of like what they did with when they redid the dubbing for Akira, or Akira, I guess you're supposed to pronounce it, but I'm going to just call it Akira because that's how I always grew up calling it that. The new dub is definitely more accurate. What is being said is a more accurate representation of the original Japanese, right? But I grew up hearing it a certain way, and I just can't really listen to it the other way. It's already, I'm assuming you mean it's already late here. I should really go to sleep. I'm going to come back here tomorrow and watch the rest of the stream, and I'll see you later. Hey, Cornelia, thanks for stopping by. Yeah, go. Don't. If you're feeling sleepy and it's late, go to bed. Go to bed. Sleep is one of those things that too many people do not take seriously enough. You need your sleep. Go get your rest. Thank you for stopping by and hanging out. Yeah, the stream will be here. The stream will be here. These streams may well outlive me. Who knows? Boy, wouldn't that be something, huh? You never know. But yeah, when they redid the dubbing for Akira, and if you know anything about Akira, or if you're a fan, you probably know that famously, well, actually, I guess you had to be alive at a certain period of time for this reference to even make sense. The main hero character, Kaneda, or I guess as it's supposed to be pronounced, Canada, and I really just can't wrap my head around pronouncing it that way. He was originally dubbed by the same individual who did the voice of the Ninja Turtle Leonardo in the original 90s cartoon. And for some people, they're glad to be rid of that voice, but I'll be honest, that's how he sounds to me. I hear the guy who did Leonardo's voice. So to listen to the new dub, where it's a different actor, I've watched it a few times, but most of the time, and the thing that bothers me or bugs me about it is that the original dub, the one I grew up with, that one's only in stereo. The 5.1 mix, they only did for the new dub, which makes sense. They want you to listen to the new dub, so they basically kind of try to nudge you towards it by making it the better sounding mix. And I understand that. I get it. It is a better translation. I'm not disputing that. But I grew up with Akira being a certain way. And it's just tricky not to want to default to it. But I think the next time I watch it, I think I am going to go ahead and listen to what they call the Pioneer dub, the Pioneer 2001 dub. Which, when they did that redubbing, I was so lucky. I was able to actually go see it in a theater. They re-released it. Oh, it was so cool seeing it that way. Because all I'd ever seen was, well, especially when I was younger, it was either on TV or it was on a VHS. And then I had I think there was a DVD of it, but it wasn't a great one. And then they made a big deal because Akira is such a landmark film. I mean, that is one of the great Japanese animated movies, and it is one of the ones that was responsible for the art form being popularized in the United States, along with Ghost in the Shell. Again, this may be very, very, very well-known territory for people watching, so I'm not trying to act like I know something people don't, but some people may not. At this point, I don't know how many people that are younger even know that stuff. Not an insult, just saying it may not be as well-known. But anyway, so yeah, I got to go see it in the theater. When they did the redub, they did a limited release, and they put it in the theaters. And I was able to go and see it along with Lando and his... I don't think she was his wife at the time. Not yet. But yeah, we went to see it, and man... I struggled a little bit with the dubbing, because again, I was just so used to the voices I heard. But... oh, it was just so beautiful to see it remastered and see it in a really nice, new, pristine format. That was great. And we saw it in a very good theater. That helped. Because I've seen Japanese animated films in theaters that are definitely art house theaters, which isn't necessarily always a bad thing, but sometimes they're not the most modern. They don't always have good sound. Like when I saw Ghost in the Shell 2, it was in a art house theater in San Francisco. And actually, I have to admit, I liked the look of the little theater. It had this very kind of Egyptian pharaoh thing happening, which I liked. But the screen was pretty small. The sound equipment was showing its age. So it was... luckily, Ghost in the Shell 2 Innocence is not a movie where you have a lot of really bang-bang explosions or a lot of need for a extraordinarily dynamic sound mix. But still, you could tell it, you could tell that it was going to be better when it inevitably came out on like a Blu-ray or a 4K, which it has. Hey, Timber Dragon. Happy Monday. Hope you're doing well. I'm actually just about, I think, done with the stream for this evening. I'm just looking some things over. Ooh, yeah, I don't think I want to get into those tonight. That's the only problem with all this small line work is you spend a lot of time on it, and it seems like you don't get that much done. Which is okay. But, like I said, it takes a long time. But we got most of it. Most of it's in there. I know some of this is difficult to see. Let me turn the colors off. And then turn the background color. Oh, wait, actually, that revealed some dots I have to get rid of. Hold on. Where are those dots? There they are. Let's get rid of those, because those shouldn't be there. This is actually a good opportunity to check and make sure everything is in line with where it needs to be. Looks like we're good otherwise here. That's kind of neat looking by itself, huh? Not bad looking. Let's change that background color to something a little bit... ooh, yeah, brighter. Well, actually, no, that's too bright now, because now you can't see the black lines. Let me try, like... let's see, hold on. Let me go back to that background. Let's change that color to something like that. Yeah, that's a little bit better. There we go. Yeah, okay. Yep. Yep. That stuff all looks good. Yeah, okay. So really it's just these large... unless I leave them, unless I just don't color those in, it's maybe not the worst idea to have... you know what, now that I think about it? I don't think I like the color in these. So actually, they don't all have to have lines in them. Where are these two? Hold on, I gotta find these. There they are. I'm gonna take these out. I don't like these. I just feel like they're... wait, is it on assist? It is good. Let's get rid of this. I am not the biggest fan of these. I think I was when I did them because it was early on, but honestly, not every single part of this head has to be lined. And I think having a couple areas that aren't is probably a good thing. Yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to line the lips. Lips are fine. I think I'll leave these big whatever muscles alone. The outer earlobe is fine. Wow, you know what? This image might almost be done. Might be. Finally. Yeah, it might almost be done. Maybe. Yeah, maybe. Interesting. Yeah, maybe it is. I mean, it's not completely done, but it might be a lot closer than I expected it to be. Where are we at? Oh, 55. Okay, you know what? I think I'm going to call the stream for tonight. I think this is a good place to stop. I'm going to think about... I may want a background for this. I got to figure this out. I don't know if I just want the head or if I want something else to it. I don't know for sure. I think the head by itself works, but I may want to add something to the back of it. I just have to think about that a little bit. Like I might have wires that are going to trail underneath all the way down. I may do those on a separate image. We'll see. But yeah, you know what? I think I'm going to call it for this evening. So let me do that. And yeah, we're doing well though. It's coming along. Oh, plus the iPad is getting a little low on battery, so probably not the worst idea to charge it. Get it topped off back to where it should be. Oh, done. I didn't mean to move icons. There we go. Well, thank you for hanging out on the stream this evening. And yeah, you know what? For a Monday stream, not bad. Actually, for a stream in general, not bad. It only froze once, which is great. And got a lot of line work done. So now I just got to figure out if that's it or not. I sort of have a rough idea. Well, I have two things I have to work on. I do have to work... I had a Magic card commission request that's a little bit different. I'm not going to say anything about it yet because it's still early on, but individual asked for something and I have to see how I can make it work. I think I can. I just am sort of battling the dimensions of the card, specifically to try to do it vertically as opposed to horizontally. That's not a new problem. The reality is, for a lot of what people want, the horizontal orientation is better, but many collectors like to display their cards vertically. So, creates an interesting problem, or interesting challenge, as in should not say problem. Something to reckon with. So that, and then I think I know what my next kind of my own illustration will be, which is something a little off the beaten path, a little something from folklore that I just learned about in a few days. The bone horse. It's got, his name is like Mary Lowild or something. I think I'm going to do something based on that because I haven't done something along those lines in a little while. So anyway, now I'm just babbling. So thank you for coming by and hanging out for a bit. And as I always say, if you are curious, for those interested, I was recently lucky enough to be a guest on, well, actually 2 live shows. The first one was a couple weekends ago. The name of the station is Heartbeat Hero Radio. I played as part of the trivia group on that. Lost, as I usually do, but it's okay. And then just this past week, as the live stream anyway, depending on when this posts, it may be months ago. But in any event, I was a guest on the most recent recording of Everyday People, hosted by friend of the show, Aunt Pruitt. You can find that by going to auntpruitt.com/podcast. And the name of the show is Try It, You Might... I think it's Try It, You Might Like It. Hold on, let me get the episode correct. I should at least, if I'm going to promote something, promote it correctly. Give me a second. Hold on, I'll just go straight to the website, /PODCAST. And it helps if I spell his last name right. Hold on. Here we go. Try It, You'll Like It. Posted on June 20th, 2025. And there is a video and audio version available. And I do talk a bit about artwork and creating the magic cards and just being a creator in general. So if you are at all curious, Heartbeat Heroes Radio, you just go to Twitch, look for Heartbeat Hero, and it will be the most recent live show from that, which aired on the 13th, 14th, something like that. And yeah, so if you're just curious, those two places you can hear me babbling on about artwork and other things. And as I always say at the end of these streams, go find a creator whose work you enjoy and support them in some way. Whether that's monetarily, whether that is just showing a little appreciation in form of a message or a reshare, subscribing to their channel if they have YouTube or something like that. If it's artwork, just, saying a little thing saying, hey, I really like this, or sharing it with others so they can see it. If you have the ability to support them monetarily, by all means do so. But, and I've said this, I'm going to probably say this every single stream, it is unfortunate that people think that if they can't donate money that they have no way to support somebody. And the reality is that's just not true. There are many creators who just hearing a nice word about their work would probably be just about as valuable to them as money. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure they would like to have not only a kind word, but also some money. But not everybody's in a position to do that. And it is generally free, as far as I know, in most avenues and platforms. It does not cost anything to say something nice to somebody. So, and in general, even beyond creative stuff, everybody's goal should be to try to say something nice to somebody. It's just better than saying something negative. So that's the overall thing. But in terms of creators, yeah, find a supporter you enjoy and tell them you appreciate them. Not me, I'm fine. So find somebody else, somebody who needs a little bit more encouragement or support, or is having a tough time, or is thinking about giving up, because we all as creators at some point probably have at least a couple times where we're like, you know what, maybe I'm just done with all this. And the timing of somebody coming in and saying, oh, this is really great work, keep it up, that could stop somebody who was just about to give up from doing that. So that itself could be immensely valuable. So like I said, reach out, find a creator, and tell them you support them, or support them in whatever way you can. All right, everybody, I'm getting out of here because I'm just talking in circles now and have been for like 4 minutes. So yeah, I'm done. Thanks for hanging out, and until the next stream, go find a creator, support them. Thanks for being here, and take care.